What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. And I was going to say Wednesday. Happy Tuesday, people. And apologies for being late. I have got a defense today, and I'm going to show you just so you're aware of it as we go in the show. The internet is mashing up today. I don't know why. Twitter my Twitter wasn't working, so I'm thinking, let me restart the computer. Then it's still not working. I look online, it says Cloudflare outage has impacted major websites, including Twitter, which won't be available to use for the time being. So listen, I don't know if it's just me, but can you guys get on Twitter? I can't get on Twitter. Usually I share my screen with stories on Twitter and I can't get on there. So I had about 6 stories ready. I've gone on there and then they're all not loading. So I had no news to share with you. We could have just discussed it with no pictures, but I like to have pictures and show you where I've got my source. Twitter is locked off. Okay, cool. There you go. There, my apologies. I thought it was just my computer going mad or my internet was playing up, but I can't get on Twitter. I can't get on some of the other websites. It's down, it's lock off. There you go. Yeah, man, I can defend myself on this one. So big up everyone locked in. Hope you are all well. Twitter is mashed up. So yeah, I was struggling to share the stories with you guys, and I was looking to see if we could find other pictures. I'm trying to get another one here, by the way. It's absolutely mad. It just shows, don't it, how fragile the internet is, when you work online, how easily these things can go wrong. It's a bit dangerous, really. But yeah, we will get there. We will get there. Right, let me just try and I want to get this other story up as well. Right, yeah, right. Got a few stories. I've had to find them on different websites so that we can at least look at a few bits. But yeah, Cloudflare down causing global issues. There we go. There we go. Yo, relax, man. Relax yourself. Anyway, big up to everyone locked in. Hope you're well on this Tuesday. The internet smash up. Twitter is down, but we will make it work. Unreasonable time blindness is no joke. We support you, Curtis. Listen, today, man, please be reasonable. Be reasonable. It's not my fault today, man. The internet is very, very much playing up. But yeah. Anyway, right, we'll do what we can. We will do what we can. Some of them I'll just literally have pictures, and we just won't have the source of information. Unfortunately, we'll make it work. We'll make it work. Hope everyone is well. Make sure you hit the like button. Apologies for being late, but as I said, the internet is mash up at the moment, and we're trying our best to get source of information up on the screen and pictures and stuff like that. So yeah. Anyway, today very much again is going to be around injuries and availability, which is absolutely crazy, man, because yesterday I did pretty much all of the show talking about players' injuries and who's going to be available for the derby. And today is more of the same, unfortunately. We'll start off with Urian Timber, injured last night playing for Holland, although he did continue after getting the injury. He was down, he had a nasty cut on the side of his leg. He was on the floor, he came off, got some treatment, came back on, and then was substituted later on. So was he then substituted because the cut was affecting him, or did he just come off as a precaution? I don't know, but he was down. He had a nasty cut on the side of his leg, continued for a little while longer, and came off. I'll be honest, this one isn't necessarily worrying me too much because Timber's a soldier, and a cut should be all right. If you would have thought if the cut was that bad, he would have had stitches at the side of the pitch. He didn't require stitches. He carried on. I think they just put Vaseline on it. He carried on and then came off. Maybe it was causing him some discomfort. You would think a cut would be all right, especially for a soldier like Jurien Timber. But I'm telling you now, people, We need this international break to finish. I don't know what is going on right now. I don't see Liverpool players, Man City players, Man United players, just pure Arsenal players on the floor, limping off, stretchered off. It's all mad, people. It's all mad. I think that Timber will be all right. That's my opinion. I think Timber will be okay. Man's a real bad man, and I think he'll be all right. A cut on the side of the leg, I don't think that's keeping him out, to be honest. But you never know. You never know, do you? But I think he'll be all right. He was able to continue for a little bit, and then it came off. But it's still not good to see him on the floor. I think it's a minor issue. Do you know what? Yesterday, I obviously we did Forever Arsenal yesterday, right? And I discussed Gabriel's injury. We spoke about it yesterday on here, actually. I just brought up some facts. He played 93 minutes in pre-season, which isn't a lot of football. He's then played pretty much every Premier League game and played against Port Vale in the Carabao Cup, Brighton in the Carabao Cup, and Slavia Prague, who haven't won for like 18 Champions League games. So the three opportunities you had to rest Gabriel, you didn't rest him. He's ended up getting a muscular injury playing for his country. Gabriel was training alone at times with Brazil, with the coach, because of the amount of, training and games that he's played. They're having to make him train alone. As I said yesterday, people, it's only November. Gone till November, like Wycliffe Jean said, people. Calafiori sent home from international duty because he needed a break from training because of problems in his hip. Our players are having to pull out of training sessions, train by themselves in November because the amount of game time and training that they are playing. Does that not tell us that our players are being overworked? Surely. Is that just not simple mathematics? Now, there were people in the comments going, yeah, but you don't like Arteta, so you're always going to blame Arteta. No, I'm not. I'm not always going to blame Arteta. I saw Haaland on 2 goals the other week get substituted by Pep Guardiola on his hat-trick. On his hat-trick, and he's dragging him off. And Haaland's noticeably disappointed. Why am I getting taken off when I'm on a hat-trick? No, you need to chill. You need a break. I don't care about your hat-trick. We need to wrap you in cotton wool. Make sure you get through the majority of this season. You're that important to Manchester City. I don't see that same sort of care from the manager. I'm not saying Arteta doesn't care about the players. I'm saying Arteta doesn't believe that he can win big games of football without his strongest 11. That was the whole point of this summer transfer window. 265 million so that Gabriel doesn't need to play against Port Vale. When I say he doesn't need to play, he doesn't need to travel. He doesn't need to be on the bench. He needs to be at home with his family with his feet up. That's what you call a night off. Not being dragged to Port Vale, which is in Stoke, sitting on the bench in the cold and then coming on for 25 minutes. This cannot be a coincidence. Go through our team from 1 to 11. Timber, ACL injury. Saliba, ankle injury that he sustained before the game against Liverpool. Continued to play the game, probably made that injury worse. He also did his hamstring at the back end of last season. Gabriel, thigh injury now, torn hamstring last season. Calafiori injured multiple times last season. Declan Rice, broken toe. I'll let him off with that. That's impact, right? Odegaard, knee injuries, ankle injuries. I'll let him off with them because they are impact injuries. Saka, torn and pulled hamstring. Martinelli, multiple pulled hamstrings. Now Gyokeres, pulled hamstring. And Noni Madueke, knee injury. Kai Havertz, surgery on his knee and hamstring. Thomas Partey, hardly ever injured at Atletico. Couldn't keep him fit. I'm sorry. Now, people might say, wow, I'm surprised you're doing this. We're top of the league. And why are you annoyed with Arteta? Because the thing is, people, if we don't start managing this situation correctly, it will cost us the league title further down the line. So people might say, don't worry about that now because we're top of the league. But that is the thing that will stop us staying at the top of the league. Ben White, knee injury. Gabriel Jesus, multiple knee injuries as well. Something isn't right at Arsenal. People keep saying we're unlucky. We're not. This isn't just down to luck. It's down to the management of the players. Rest players. Play Nketiah at centre-back against Port Vale. Play Calafiori. Play Mosquera. Give them the night off. Look what happened to Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu was highly rated at Arsenal. He fizzled out of this football club in the dark of the night, people. We just woke up one morning. Oh, let me check my Twitter. Although you won't be checking Twitter today, people, because Twitter is down today. Completely down. And I just woke up and they went, yeah, Calafiori's left the club. We've paid him off. I went, Ross. They literally just ground him down till his injuries. He couldn't deal with it anymore. And in the comments, they were fuming. Oh my God. Oh my God. How are you blaming Arteta for Gabriel's injury? He got it for Brazil. But that is a culmination of what's been happening inside Arsenal Football Club, people. It's a culmination. People online blaming Ancelotti. It's Ancelotti's fault. Ancelotti shouldn't have played him. Ancelotti's going to be sitting there going, I only get these players 4 times a year, and you expect me to rest them. Okay, I'll rest Gabriel. PSG are on the phone. They want Marquinhos to be rested. Man United are on the phone. Casemiro and Cunha need to be rested. Who am I going to play? I'll go to the Amazon rainforest and get an 11 from there. Come on. We can all see it. The problem with Arsenal is we get caught up in the moment. So we go, we're top of the league, nothing else matters, everything's rosy in the garden. It's not. It's not. These injuries will cost us, right? We're heading into 3 massive games this week, players getting injured. Hamstrings just dropping off like cheese string, like someone said. Remember them cheese strings you could get as a kid? Didn't even taste like cheese, just tasted like plastic. You know what I'm saying? That's our hamstrings. All right, who's going to pull the hamstring this week? All right, go on then. You run as quick. It's madness, people. I'm telling you. Arteta defends with 11 players. Bro, I said it before. The amount of work our attackers have to do, that's why these guys all get injured. Martinelli, Gyokeres, Havertz, Jesus, Saka, Noni Madueke, Martin Odegaard. Is that a coincidence? Is that just bad luck? I don't think so. Yo, big up Shane Gooner, man. Big up Shane. By the way, big up on 200 episodes, man. Big up man like Shane Gooner, man. I'm telling you, this guy is entertaining. This guy is entertaining, man. I'm telling you. That Simpsons little clip that you had, I saw it the other day. I said, nah. Big up Shane Gooner, 200 episodes. The full Irish, people. The full Irish. He said, anyone blaming Brazil on Gabriel's injury needs a reality check. The same 11, 13 players have been flogged by Arteta for 3 years. This injury is down to him, much like 80% of them. More to come. There you go, people. There you go. Havertz tore his hamstring warm weather training in Dubai during a light session. I mean, listen, I told you, people, I'm not here to be the most popular. I'm not here to, sing and dance and make everyone happy. You should have seen the comments yesterday on the show. Oh, why is he blaming Arteta? Like, why are we not open to the discussion from each angle? You're a massive fan of Arteta, but can you not think, well, how come we've had so many injuries? Maybe he is overplaying the players that he relies on so much, which was why we invested so heavily in the summer. Or you can sit there the other side and go, okay, maybe it is bad luck, and then we figure out what the truth maybe is. I'm telling you now, people, we're a Declan Rice injury away from this season collapsing. And honestly, I'm not trying to bring doom and gloom on people's afternoon, but I'm telling you now, if Declan Rice gets injured, this team is cooked. Absolutely cooked. Because that midfield will crumble. Thoughts on Troy Parrott? Oh my, he could probably walk into any bar in Ireland and the drinks will be lined up for him. I remember somebody telling me years ago that Troy Parrott was the new Harry Kane at Tottenham. He was breaking records in the youth system at Tottenham. Never really came through and got into the first team setup. But he's gone to Holland. He's bagged loads of goals over there. I said it on yesterday's stream, man. I was delighted for Ireland because if you ever go to these international tournaments, the Irish bring a vibe, man, and you want that vibe. I hope they qualify, man. Hope they qualify. As you know, I grew up with Leon Best. Me and him were good friends growing up, and Bestie was he's half Irish. His mum's Irish. He played for Ireland. So I always like to see Ireland do well, man. I hope they make the World Cup. Speaking of the World Cup and speaking of vibes, by the way, as I said, people, Twitter is down. It's mashup. So I'm having to get sources of news from different places. So it's quite difficult. Tonight is a big night for the island of Jamaica. Jamaica versus Curacao, 8 p.m. local time. That's 1 a.m. UK time. Um, if Jamaica win tonight, they qualify for the World Cup for the first time since 1998. The Reggae Boys and the country needs it. I'm telling you now, the country needs it. There are parts of Jamaica still no electricity, no running water, food shortages because they can't get it delivered into the country. People are desperate, especially on the west coast of Jamaica. They need something to lift that nation right now, and qualifying for the World Cup would be incredible. Unfortunately, people, we thought the cone man, Mikel Arteta, caused the headache. They have got the Wally with the Brolly, Steve McLaren, who is absolutely dreadful. I don't know what kind of tactics this guy turns up with. Anybody who follows the Jamaican national team, the way this guy sets up, oh my day, you think Arteta is defensive. I swear this guy would have a striker at left back if he could. Defensive isn't the word, and yet you hear people like David Beckham say that, oh, McLaren's one of the best coaches he ever worked with. Coaching and management is very different. McLaren is the Wally with the Brolly. When that guy went to Holland and tried to put on a Dutch accent, you know what I mean? Yes, we have a very difficult game this afternoon. I said, nah, this guy's cooked. You know what I mean? Seal it up. When he went to Jamaica and said, seal it up, I thought, yeah, man, maybe something can go on. I'm telling you now, I said this the other day. If Jamaica draw or lose, they end up in the qualifiers, right? So they'll finish second, they'll have a playoff. I would sack him on the spot tonight if he doesn't win that game and give that playoff to someone else. Because if this guy can't get through this group, they are never going to make a World Cup ever in the history of the sport. So if McLaren doesn't beat Curacao tonight, sack him the moment that final whistle goes. I'm telling you now. Steve Marley, yeah, yeah. If he wins, Steve Marley gets some dreadlocks on his head and lead him to the World Cup. But I'm telling you, his tactics absolutely stink. But I'll be hoping that they can pick up a vital result, man. They need it. The country needs it. But as I said, man, listen, and I do have info or insight into the Jamaican national team. Good friend of mine is Paul Hall. Paul Hall was the Jamaican manager and played for Jamaica in the 98 World Cup. And Jamaica basically had a list a couple of years ago of high-profile players. Ivan Toney, Reece Nelson, Mason Greenwood, Jed Spence. Get all these four guys to play for Jamaica. You get those four into the Jamaican team, they stroll to the World Cup. And they didn't get any of them. And the problem is the setup isn't good enough. These guys, they're probably speaking to Mikel Antonio and Damari Gray. And, you know, like I said yesterday, Jamaica played Suriname. Second leg was back in Jamaica. They flew to Suriname. They came to the airport in Suriname to fly back to Jamaica. They didn't have return flights booked. The Federation didn't book return flights. Suriname got to Jamaica before Jamaica got back to Jamaica. They're like, what's going on? We're in Jamaica, you're not even here. These men had to pay for their own flights, couldn't all get on the same plane. It's shambolic. So people like Ivan Toney, Reece Nelson playing in the Premier League, they're looking at that and going, I can't work with that. I can't fly 8-9 hours when that's the situation you've got set up over there. So this is the problem. Jamaica could have a far better team than they've got, but the Federation are not running it properly, unfortunately. So we'll see, man, but hopefully they get a win and it'll lift the country, that's for sure. Shane said, I heard someone say Ancelotti injured Gabriel. I saw that on Twitter, man. Not that you would see it on Twitter now. Yeah, oh, it's revenge because we knocked them out. Oh, so Ancelotti ain't trying to win the World Cup. He just wants revenge because we won a game against them when they were all over the place last season in the Champions League. I'm not being funny. Real Madrid were there to be beaten. They would have lost to PSG if they'd have beaten us. They would have got beat by PSG. This is not the Real Madrid that we've seen over the years. This is a name brand Real Madrid. It's like a guy going shopping, spending 10 grand on his outfit, but it doesn't match. Yo, do you like my Burberry top and my Amiri trainers and my Gucci hat? Yeah, it's individually it looks decent, but collectively you're a mess. That's what this Real Madrid team is. I don't even think these Real Madrid players like each other. I'm telling you now, I look at the body language, I look at the way they are around each other. I don't think they even like each other. I'm telling you now. Jude's sitting there going, yo, I was Ballon d'Or nomination. Vinny was favourite to win the Ballon d'Or. Mbappe's turned up. Vinny ain't playing as good. Bellingham doesn't look as good. Rodrigo's living on the bench. It's all mad. It's all mad, you know what I mean? So I'm not taking anything away from Arsenal, by the way. We slapped up Real Madrid. It was great. But when we battered Real Madrid, I don't think I celebrated that as much as a lot of other people because I didn't think we'd beat PSG. So I thought, well, individually it's great, but if it doesn't amount to anything, it's like flirting with a girl all night in the nightclub, but she's left and you ain't even got the number. It's a nice memory, but did you get the number? Nah. BlackBerry pin? Nah, nothing. All right, don't mean much then, does it? You know what I mean? It don't mean much. What I've realised, Arsenal are the flirters. We shouldn't be called the Gunners. We should be called the flirters, people. You know what I mean? We flirt with Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues, but then, oh damn it! Oh, Man City are leaving with the Champions League in a taxi, people. We've been flirting with it all night, but bought drinks, spent the rent money, but Man City are getting in an Uber with it. We're the flirters, people. You know what I mean? But maybe we'll get there eventually. Maybe we'll get there eventually. Yeah, the Rizzlers. You know what I'm saying? Yo, BlackBerry Messenger, please, man. I know I might sound old now, but yo, why did they ever get rid of that, man? I'm telling you. BlackBerry Messenger was the one, man. Because, certain times you don't even want to give people your phone number. So the BBM pin was away. All right, take the pin. And if you annoy me, I just delete that quietly. Now you got to take the number on WhatsApp and all that. I'm antisocial, people, man. I'm telling you, I don't like answering the phone. You know what I mean? I don't know about anybody else. I don't know if it's just part of getting older. Because it was free. Oh, man, I'm telling you, man. I know I'm going on here, people. Big up Richard, who said, big up C Unit. I work from home in IT support. Systems down in time for the live stream. Perfect timing. I'm scared if Marino is up front on Sunday. I thought it was my internet, but yeah, Twitter is a mess. You can't get on it. Cloudflare outage has impacted major websites around the world. Twitter is not working, and apparently multiple other major websites. So yeah, my apologies that I was late. I was there restarting the internet, thinking it was me, but nah, everyone's in the same boat. NC USA Gunner man said, "Good morning, Curtis. Celebrating my retirement at age 55 by coming to London for the North London Derby. Boy, I hope they don't let you down, man. Happy retirement. 55, man. That's a good age to retire. There's people, in their late 60s still having to work. American tourists shamelessly driving up prices on hospitality packages. My second game ever. First was the FA Cup game in January 96. So you've waited a long time to come back and all that, tourists shamelessly. I always say this, people, like, I would never throw that at anybody about being a fan of Arsenal. I really wouldn't. I get that off people. It gets more narrow. Some people in England throw it, oh, you're not in England, so why do you support this club? People throw it at me. Oh, you're not from London. Why aren't you a Forest fan? Because I'm from Nottingham. Why don't you support Forest? You're not from North London. You weren't born a stone's throw from Highbury. Yeah, listen, it's pathetic when people start using that, because how do you think Arsenal are what they are without a worldwide fan base? It doesn't work. So you don't have to apologise for that, bro. Richard said, it's funny, isn't it, though, that Arsenal moan about international breaks after playing Saka, Saliba and Gabriel for 5,000 games in a row. So you're going to flog him, Gabriel, the whole season, and then you're going to go, yeah, Carlo, yeah, I know, mate. I know you only have him 3 times a year, but do you mind not playing him in your preparation games? Oh, yeah, why is that, Mikel? He's absolutely knackered. He's so tired that he can't even train with the team. He's got to train by himself. Okay, so I'll leave him out and I'll go to the World Cup and get caught out cold because these players haven't had no preparation. I hear this all the time. Oh, ban the international breaks. I can't stand international football. No, the 4, 5, or 6 games that he plays for Brazil a year are not the reason that these players are getting injured. The 5 or 6 games that Saka plays for England are not the reason that his hamstring was hanging off. It's not the reason. It's the 55 games that he plays for Arsenal. That's the reason, people. That's what I'm trying to say. Let's get to the root cause of the problem. That's what we need to talk about. How does Jack get to meet Havertz, Omri, and Hasselbank? So Jack basically was working for FIFA. He was working for FIFA, so he did some interviews with those guys. So yeah, he's been very fortunate with who he's got to meet. So big him up. Richard said, forget can't win the big games without his best players. Man had to call on the A team against Port Vale. Yeah, it's no surprise Arteta flogs these players. You got to remember, we was 1-0 up in the 70th minute against Port Vale, and he brought on Rice, Gabriel, Gyokeres. He had to get the cavalry to get past League One Port Vale, and we scored a second late on. I think it was it Trossard? Joba said, genuine question. If Arteta had made all these changes and rotations when we thought he should, and we didn't win or drop points, wouldn't we blame him? Remember Mosquera v Man City. Now, Joba, big up. I appreciate your support as always. The one thing I'm saying, Joba, I'm not saying rotate against Liverpool, Man City, anybody of that ilk. And I'm not saying make 8 or 9 changes. I'm saying, are you telling me you need to play Gabriel against Port Vale? Are you telling me with Mosquera and Calafiori at centre-back, we can't beat a League One team that was 7th from bottom? I get your point. You're talking about Mosquera v Man City. I get that. But there's something wrong if you can't beat Port Vale without playing your strongest team. So he's had Slavia Prague haven't won for 18 Champions League games. You can rest those guys for them games. Jamaican FA suffers from terrible corruption. Money gets siphoned off into personal bank accounts of Manchester football team and country. Well, allegedly, we hear things about corruption, but who knows? But it seems not enough of the money goes into football. Chronicles of eFootball. Curtis, I'm off to basketball now. I'm from Nigeria. Club and country can't get over the line. Nigeria not qualifying for the World Cup should be the biggest eye-opener for that country ever, because I don't understand how a country the size of Nigeria, with so many players to pick from, with, Lookman, Osimhen, Iwobi, players of that ilk, you can't qualify for a World Cup. It's terrible. It's actually terrible, like, what is happening with a lot of these countries. And this is the reason that Raheem Sterling won't play for Jamaica. This is the reason that Saka won't play for Nigeria. Because these guys take one look at the setup and go, yeah, I don't want nothing to do with that. I don't want nothing to do with it. If Nigeria had a proper setup, if Jamaica had a proper setup and other countries, some of these guys would play for these countries. Do you know what I mean? They probably want to play for these countries, but they go, well, I can't. Where's the money going? What's the training facilities like? What's the organisation like? Are players getting paid? A coach? They can't do it. Look at Mason Greenwood. Greenwood applied for his Jamaican passport, told the federation, okay, yeah, I'm going to play for Jamaica. I've given up on playing for England. Got his Jamaican passport and then went, nah, I'll leave it. I'll leave it. The man was 75% complete of playing. Just needed to sign the paperwork off. Man said, nah, I've changed my mind. It's sad. It's sad. Joba said, I love how whenever some of us had balance, we get labelled as Arteta-sexuals. I think he should have been sacked. I will not use things to criticise him that I don't use for other managers. Listen, bro, and I get it. I always say, people, not everybody in this chat has to be in agreement with what I say. You genuinely don't. This is what it is. It's an open platform. We have discussion. We're not here to criticise each other. when people are labelled Arteta sexuals or fanboys, it's the ones that make excuses for everything. You know, that's the ones we talk about. Not people who can see it from both points of view, which I know you can, Joe, because you've made some really good comments in the past. Same goes for my country, Kenya. Our federation is also a bunch of dummies, says Kim on. It's sad, bro. It's genuinely sad. Bro, I love the debate. Nobody in this chat ever has to feel like, oh, I can't put a comment in because it's not what he thinks. Nah, we're not like that. This is a quality community. This is for football discussion. You know what I mean? So even if you disagree, throw it in the comments. If you had the opportunity to sign Greenwood, would you do it? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't, Elk. You know, I'll be real. The voice note was too much for me. You know, some people would let that slide for football. And I know, listen, he's still with the girl. So ultimately, if the girl's forgiven him, should football fans forgive him? But to me, he's a scumbag. He's a great footballer, though. It's a shame because I think Mason Greenwood is a hell of a footballer, but he's a scumbag, and we've got to. It's not worth it. It's not worth having him for what he's going to bring with him. I don't think he'll ever play in England again, to be honest. I think he'll have to stay abroad. Right, I've tried to source some info for some of these stories because Twitter is not working. Would you swap Deckers for Killian? You're asking the wrong person. I'll be honest, right? You're asking the wrong person because I would probably swap any player at Arsenal for Kylian Mbappe. He's one of my favourite players in the world, you know. So you're asking the wrong person. Yeah, I don't want to give an opinion that's going to make people feel uncomfortable, you know. But Declan Rice for Kylian Mbappe, I'm sorry. Deckers would have to learn French. You know? Oh, not French. No, Kylian's at Real Madrid. He'd be learning Spanish within the hour. But nah, we've got Declan Rice, so you know, Deckers. Big up Deckers, man. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. Some people would say no, Rice is so important to us, but Kylian Mbappe, I'd probably give you about 4 players for Mbappe, to be honest. But yeah, we move. Mbappe probably won't get no service at Arsenal. He'd be standing up front waiting for the ball. But no, I love Declan. But yeah, for Kylian, can you imagine Kylian number 14? Anyway, speaking of number 14, our number 14, who we thought people were putting up pictures, he's walking around Oxford Street. He's shopping in London, so he's fit. He must be fit. Look at the way he's walking. His hamstring's healed. It turns out maybe it isn't healed, people. I will have to get the story. I actually screenshot it, luckily, on my phone because Twitter's mashup. So we're now hearing that our boy Victor Gyokeres may not be available. Victor Gyokeres remains a doubt for the weekend fixture between Arsenal and Tottenham. Arsenal had hoped that Victor Gyokeres would be fit for the North London derby, but are not completely confident that he has healed from the hamstring injury he suffered against Burnley and believe he will need more time to recover and will not rush him for the North London derby. He's been out for 3 weeks this weekend, by the way, and they're saying he's not fit. So it looks like, I mean, from what I've known of hamstring injuries, you would usually, if it's very minor, 1 to 2 weeks. If it's a little bit worse, you could be looking at 4 to 6 weeks, which you would think he could be within that period. And obviously worse could be 8 to 12. Now, is it dark arts? Is it dark arts? North London derby, Tottenham will be planning, what are Arsenal going to do? You leak a little story that Gyokeres is a doubt, then bang, team lineup goes out an hour before Gyokeres is starting. That's what needs to be happening. That's what needs to be happening. If it's not that, I'm very disappointed. I'll be honest, man. I know a lot of people have been on Gyokeres' case, but I think he's very important for us. He hasn't been at his best. We haven't seen the Sporting Lisbon level. Were we ever going to see the Sporting Lisbon level? Number one, that league's nowhere near as good. Number two, we don't use him in the same way that they do. Do you guys think it's legit or do you think it's mind games? I just don't think he's available, to be honest. I don't know if he is. Am I disappointed? Yeah, because I saw the way Marino played up front against Sunderland, and that concerns me. Um, if somebody like Romero marks him and he's physical, he may struggle. The good thing is that it's at home and one or two players are back available. But yeah, this is not good. This is a big, big loss for Arsenal. I've got to be honest with you, man. I was really thinking, he's had the international break, he'll be back, but doesn't look like he is going to be back unless Arteta is playing mind games, which I hope he is. Yeah, there's rumours that Havertz is back in full training, but with him being out for over 3 months, is he just going to come back into the squad like that? I would imagine he would need some game time behind closed doors, unless they have played a couple of under 23 games or friendlies that he's played in and we don't know. I've said it all along, people. We're on a tightrope. I genuinely mean it. We are on a tightrope right now. We are a Declan Rice injury away from a crisis. I'm telling you now, that midfield would get smoked if he wasn't in it. It would get smoked. We got no legs. You take Declan Rice out of that midfield, no legs, no engine. You go and play Bayern Munich with Zubomendi and Marino or Norgard. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. You can't. This is what I kept saying. I argued this in the summer, by the way, that when people were going, yeah, Norgard's a sensible signing, I said he's not a sensible signing. He's average, bro. He is not a sensible signing. It's a cheap signing. People think because he was cheap, he was good. No, he was cheap because he wasn't good. Everything in the supermarket that's on sale, it ain't good. Some of it's going out of date. That's why it's got yellow stickers on it. You know what I mean? This was a yellow sticker supermarket signing. You play Norgard against Bayern Munich, you're getting smoked in midfield. Musiala and them, man. You know what I mean? I'm telling you. Declan Rice needs to stay fit for 38 league games if this team's got any chance of winning the title. He cannot get injured this season. Because the midfield cover's not good enough. Norgard is El Neni level. I agree. Norgard is El Neni level. El Neni was actually more mobile than Norgard. But they both play the ball sideways and backwards. So it was just a cheap little £13 million signing. Yeah, man, when he was crying in the announcement video, we knew there was a problem. I'm glad. I like the fact he was so, high. Oh my God, Arsenal. But when he started shedding tears, I thought, hang on a minute. This ain't a boyhood Arsenal fan that's, living his dream. I can't even believe I'm at this level at 31 years of age. That worries me a little bit. Curtis, can you take Mainu as a Rice backup? Bro, no joke. I would take Kobbie Mainu at Arsenal for the right price. I think there's a player there. I think it's just Man United. We've seen it. I remember people calling McTominay McChicken Sandwich. McChicken Sandwich. That's how bad people thought he was. Well, man's at the Ballon d'Or awards, bro. You know what I mean? In the top 30, scoring bicycle kicks and winning the league. Look at Rashford at Barcelona. Like, there's a Man United effect there. Kobbie Mainu, 30, 40 million. Take him all day long at Arsenal. 19 years of age. All day long I'd take him. I still think there's a player there. McChicken Sandwich won player of this. Do you know what I'm saying? Man won player of the season. Do you know what we realised with McTominay the whole time? And do you know what? The warning signs were there. And I don't quite understand how Man United never picked up on it. Because he's 6 foot plus and big, Man United thought McTominay was a defensive midfielder. Sit him in front of the back four and go and clatter people. But every time he played for Scotland, he kept scoring. I'm thinking, yo, this guy's arriving in the box like a Frank Lampard or something. I'm not saying he's on that level. I'm talking about the timing of his runs. So you're thinking, why aren't Man United trying McTominay in attacking midfield role? Problem was, you got little rat face Bruno Fernandes there, taking all the money, wearing the armband. They're never going to move him. So McTominay had to get sold. Went to Italy, balling out at Napoli, balling out for Scotland. Should have just played him in the right role, but Bruno's there, isn't he? I said years ago, Man United should have been Bruno Fernandes. Building your team around Bruno, I don't see United doing anything major because he's a crybaby. He's a little crybaby captain. Talented footballer. I rate him as a baller. You don't give him the armband as well. Big up Normski in the chat. 1.3 billion spent. We are struggling to have a fit striker. It comes to the IT solution up front. Get ready, Marino, to lead the line. Bro, you know what? Like, Marino leading the line, Slavia Prague, yeah, man, I can work with that. Do you know what I mean? Marino leading the line, Tottenham, Bayern Munich, and Chelsea, I'm panicking. I'm panicking. Trust me. Lawrence says, I agree, there's a ceiling when Bruno is your number one guy. 100%. I actually think Bruno is a very talented footballer, by the way. Do you know what I mean? I do. I rate him. But having him as your top guy and your captain and building around him, nah. That's an unstable foundation to build on. So anyway, as I said, people, story is that Gyokeres won't be available for this weekend. Is it dark arts or is there truth in it? I mean, 65 million Gyokeres, hamstring injury. 65 million Havertz, he's mash up as well. So Marino in the derby, it's crazy. Apparently Twitter's working again. We'll have a look. We'll have a look. Oh, we're back. We're so back. We are so back. Twitter is back. But I'm not going to spend the time looking for too many stories. But yeah, Twitter is back. I already lined up some of the stories. Shall I just put this all in the same one, or shall we break them down? No, I've got some different ones. Right, Twitter is back on up and running now. But Gyokeres, hardly ever been injured at Sporting Lisbon. Comes to Arsenal, the hamstring. It's always the hammy or the knee, isn't it? Isaac Khan has said, it is understood all 6 players, Havertz, Gyokeres, Odegaard, Jesus, Martinelli, and Madueke, are likely to be available by early December. Do you know, I can't stand reports like this. I can't stand them. Because there's certain words in there that mean he can get out of it if this doesn't happen. Likely to be available. Early December. How early? First 3 days, week, 10 days? How early? You know, oh, I said likely. It's nonsense. I can't stand journalism like this. It creates big headlines, creates excitement. Be specific, bro. You've just named 6 players. I'm sure they're all coming back at different times. So be specific. I want you to tell me when they're coming back. Do you know what I mean? That's what I want to know. Because they said that Madueke nearly played against Sunderland. So I expect Noni Madueke to be on the bench against Tottenham. Do you know what I mean? So I need specifics. Yeah, likely is the get out of jail free card. Oh, I said likely. It's poor journalism. Get it off the screen. It stinks. All right, let me go back to a couple of these other stories. Yeah, they were all saying November. Now it's December. And Isaac Khan. Oh, Isaac Khan again. Here he goes. If a significant offer arrives for Gabriel Martinelli, particularly from Saudi Arabia, Arsenal would listen. After spending big last summer, the club are conscious of the need to recoup money from selling a first-team player. Listen, I said it before, people, and I will say it again. Enjoy that last transfer window that you saw, because I'm telling you, the impression I get and the feeling I'm getting is, what are Arsenal going to do? And remember, this is Kroenke ownership. Yeah, you might start praising them that they've spent a lot of money, but trust me, what's coming round the corner, right? Arsenal will start selling a couple of first-team players. The wage bill is far too high, yeah, which I don't mind. They want a bigger Emirates stadium. That's the next big plan. They want a big Emirates. They want Emirates to be 80,000 plus, because highest ticket prices, get more people in, more merch sold, more money in the Kroenke's pocket. They're going to recoup that money back. There you go, Mikel. Go and buy Eze and Nkapie and Gyokeres, but bring that bread back. You know what I mean, Keros? Run me my bread back. Yeah, so I'm telling you now, the next transfer window, you're going to start seeing the penny pinching happening. This is what happens with Arsenal, which is why I keep saying Arsenal need to win the title this season. Arsenal need to win the title next season, because you ain't going to get a £250 million window next summer. You're going to see somebody big. I don't know how big. Martinelli's not that big in my. You sell Martinelli for decent money. I'm not. I'm not angry with that. But I'm telling you now, you know that Man City will keep going. If Man City win the league, they'll want to win the Champions League. They'll spend big again. If they don't win the league, they'll spend big again to fix it. We need to win the Premier League this season because we've had the big window. Man City are not perfect. Roger is recovering from an ACL. Cousin off at right back's not amazing. Nunes isn't amazing. Nori's not amazing. But equally, Doku's on fire. Haaland could be having a generational season of football. And sometimes that gets you over a finish line. You know, like if Haaland scores, Haaland's got the record in the Premier League, 36 league goals. If he stays fit for the whole season, he smashes that record this season. I think Haaland could score 40 league goals for the first time in Premier League history. If he does that, they win the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? They win the league. Those numbers, like, it would take 2 or 3 of our players to get to that number, to get 40 league goals. You know, Gyokeres might get you 15 to 20 if you're lucky. Probably not 20 now with the way he's injured and the service we're giving him. So Shane said, we ain't getting another big transfer window for a few years. The biggest stadium will be an excuse. Yeah, the stadium's on the way, bro. They'll expand it 20, 25,000. Season ticket prices will go up. Because we're doing well, fans will pay for it. And then the windows will go quiet for a little bit. We'll spend a little bit of money, but it won't be no big flamboyant window. I doubt we'll sign anybody in January. You know, I've said on here before, I think we need to sign somebody, but I don't think we will. So listen, I'm just, I'm just putting it out there. Listen, some people will tune in today again and go, oh, we're top of the league. What's he frustrated about? I'm telling you now, the injuries are a major, major problem. We can already see the warning signs, people. You can't have this many injuries at any one point in the season. As I said yesterday, we're in November. The season started in August. Like, we're already knackered. Players are already having to train by themselves. What are we going to do? We haven't got an international break now until March. So from now till March, that is it. Just flat out game every 3 days. Bang, bang, bang. How can we maintain these levels? Then the FA Cup comes in at the start of January. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be harder. I don't see any other team in the Premier League with this many injuries. I just don't see it. So it can't be a coincidence, you know? Like I said, Pep took Haaland off on 2 goals. Haaland's fuming, I want the hat-trick. Would he take Saka off on 2 goals? Or would he go, oh, he needs the hat-trick, he'll be great for him. That's why, man. That's why. It's not just the players. Ornstein put out an interesting report last night. Want to know what you guys think? I'm hearing things today about Liverpool. Bournemouth may be powerless to prevent Antoine Semenyo's sale in January. His contract has a 65 million release clause available to all clubs, but must be triggered by a set date. So it's a 65 million release clause in January, then it turns to 75 after this date that he's talking about, which they haven't revealed. The date will allow Bournemouth time to get a replacement. Applies again in the summer at a lower price. Oh, there we go. So it goes until the summer, actually. I thought the other report said it was only in January. I'm reading a lot of things on here that Liverpool are going to get him. Richard Hughes he works with Michael Edwards at Liverpool. He used to work at Bournemouth. Apparently, they have a good relationship. Liverpool obviously signed Gyokeres from Bournemouth, and they've done business with them before. Liverpool desperately short on that left-hand side. They've only really got Gakpo, and obviously Salah is going to AFCON for 4 weeks as well. I've said many times on this channel, I don't know what you guys think. I like Semenyo. I don't know if the numbers add up. I mean, 65 isn't too bad, but I don't know. I don't know for me. I've always been kind of on the fence with Semenyo. I feel like he's having a good season, but I don't quite know. I mean, in January for 65 million, The thing is, the players I'm naming are gambles as well. You know, I've said I'd sign Liao. Liao's a gamble as well. What I don't want Arsenal to do, right? And we've done this in the past. When you buy a player that's going into our team, I want it to be the player that you can settle on for a few years. I don't want it to be where we sign someone and then you realize you've got it wrong and then you've got to go again 2 years later, because we're not a team that solves those problems. Like I said with Havertz, after a year you could see he wasn't the answer, but because we paid so much money for him, we had to keep plodding away. I'll just keep playing him. He cost 65 million. He's on 275. Nah, Semenyo is Semenyo will be great at Liverpool because he'd be rotated, Gakpo and him, Salah and him. If we bring him to Arsenal and play him, we wouldn't buy another left winger for years. So it needs to be the right one. So listen, if we signed him in January, I wouldn't be unhappy. But Dens, we've said it so many times. Kvara was the one. That was the one. Like the style of play, the price, the wages. It was the perfect left wing signing for Arsenal. And we didn't even make an attempt. We were broke in that window. It was the year when we made the offer for Ollie Watkins. You know, that was the one. Listen, I'd go for Leao over Semenyo. I'd go for Rodrigo over Semenyo personally, because sometimes it isn't a problem, but sometimes these players, they come from lower clubs and they struggle. You know, you look at Gyokeres at Liverpool. You look at that Howson at Real Madrid. He looks awful. You know, I mean, I'm not saying that that applies to everyone, but Leao's won a league title. You know, Rodrigo's won a league title and a Champions League. I'd be going down that route. Personally, that's what I would be doing, but not everybody will agree. Listen, Semenyo's good. He is good, you know, but I'm just not sure. I'm not totally convinced. Solanke, yeah, exactly. Stunk out the place at Tottenham. Semenyo beats Leao in stats over the past 2 years. Yeah, listen, no, fears. I get it. I get it, but as I say, man, stats ain't always doesn't always tell you the whole story, you know? So what did he get? Last season he got 11 goals, 5 assists. The year before he got 8 goals, 2 assists. So that's just in the league. So he had 10 goal contributions in 23-24 and 16 last season, right? Just in the league we're looking at. So let's go on Leao. AC Milan, league. Last season, Leao got 16 goal contributions, 8 goals, 8 assists in the league. So he got the same. And the year before, he got 9 goals, 9 assists, 18. Leao got more than Semenyo. Cliffo, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, mate. But we'll have a look. We'll have a look. So Leao actually factually got more GA than Semenyo in the league over the last 2 years. Thank you and good night. Anyway, we'll move on. We'll move on. I don't want to do that to Cliffo. Not on a Tuesday afternoon. That's just not fit. It's just not fit. But yeah. Pulisic is Milan's star. Yeah, they love him. I'm telling you, Yildiz new contract is at a standstill. Yeah, and our scout as well, done in Italy. So we'll see what happens with that. Couple more stories to get through. Did I do Cliffo dirty there? I just had to fact check it, man, and he got more. I won't have it. Leao's better than Semenyo for me. Ethan Nwaneri, interesting. Yesterday, Robbie was going, oh, you know, I've got inside scoop, man, that, you know, Nwaneri might be going on loan. We're like, yeah, good one, mate. Here we go. He's doing transfer daily links again in November, so we're all going, oh, here we go, Rob. Leave it alone, will you? Turns out Isaac Khan, by the way, once again comes back with more. Ethan Nwaneri could be considered for a loan move in January. No, sorry, I had to interrupt. Cliffo, I love the way you came back there. I respect that. He said, fear, I blame the site I used. We'll go with that. Man used a dodgy website. Yo, hey, Cliffo, big up, man. It happens to us all sometimes. I've made mistakes as well. You know what I mean? I've made mistakes. So, anyway, let me get back. Big up to Cliffo. He said Nwaneri could be considered for a loan move in January. The club are conscious that he needs consistent senior minutes to continue his development. January may offer an opportunity if the right environment becomes available. Ah, I just don't know with this one. I don't know with this one, man. 6 months ago, I was like, this kid can become a star at Arsenal. Scored against Man City, scored in the Champions League, balled out on the right. I know people. Listen. I think he's been done harshly by Arteta. I do, and I know what people are saying. Right, Ethan hasn't played as well this season. Right, I'm not blind to it. Came off the bench a couple of times when Odegaard got injured, and definitely influenced the game. He didn't play well against Slavia Prague. He had a bad game. He lost the ball too much. Looked like he was trying to impress too much. Sometimes the loan works, right? Sometimes the loan works. As Johan's just said, Jack Wilshere goes to Bolton, first team football, toughens him up, comes back, starts balling until obviously the injuries. But on the other hand, you've got the Reece Nelson loans, the Eddie Nketiah loans, where the loan hasn't improved the situation. I think his growth has been stunted at Arsenal. I said it before and I say it again. Ethan should play right wing for Arsenal. Ethan should play right wing. I don't care if he says I want to play attacking midfield. He plays better on the right for Arsenal than he does in that central attacking midfield role. He gambles on the ball. He's risky on the ball. When he loses possession in that midfield area, you can see Arteta is visibly angry. Right wing, you can isolate the fullback. He's very good in 1v1s. He's quick, low centre of gravity. Perfect cover for Saka. It doesn't make sense. Noni Madueke's been out for 2 months. We've been crying out for a bit of rotation for Saka, and you've chosen not to use Ethan on the right. You know? And he's just left him as an attacking midfielder. But you've got Odegaard, you've got Eze. So, to be honest, I wouldn't loan him. Because if I was the manager, he would be getting game time. He would. If I was the manager, he would be getting game time because I rate him, right? And I don't think we should be making our squad weaker. But the problem you've got, if you've got Jesus, Havertz, Odegaard, Madueke, Gyokeres, Martinelli, 6 players coming back from injury, you're going to end up in a situation where some of these guys aren't even getting on the bench. And guess what? He's going to be the fall guy. It's easy to drop the young player. So Nwaneri will be getting left out of the squad. He'll be getting left out of the squad. So to be honest, for Ethan's development, it probably makes more sense for him to go and get football at a Premier League club. Unfortunately, because I genuinely don't think Ethan's going to play much for Arsenal between now and the end of the season. Because if you're not getting football early in the season, when you get to the latter stages of the Champions League, when you get to the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, and the stakes are getting higher, and the Premier League running, he ain't going to give him game time there if he ain't even coming on against Sunderland in an early. So I think he probably could do with a loan. Heard yesterday it was Brentford. But then the problem you've got on the flip side, Mikel, is our attack is injury prone. Saka gets injured. Martinelli gets injured. Gyokeres has been injured. Odegaard's been injured. So what you don't want to happen is Ethan goes out on loan, we end up with 2 or 3 injuries, and we're scrambling around going, where's our attacking options? And you go, oh, hang on a minute, he's at Brentford playing really well. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you loan him out? See, with Max Dowman, it's a little bit different because Max is 15. When people talk about age, that really is age. Like, that is 15. He doesn't need to play. Ethan needs to play. Ethan turns 19 in March, so he's going to finish this season as a 19-year-old. He needs game time at that age. You desperately need to play at that age. That's your development years. you know. So listen, man, I wouldn't loan him, but as I've said, I'm not the manager. I think Arsenal will, if they get a good offer, might loan him out because his growth will be stunted by sitting on our bench all season. Ain't gonna help him. And like I said, when them boys come back, he won't even be on the bench. It's very easy to leave out the youngster. You know, we know how it works. We know how it works, people, unfortunately. Did you know what? There was another part of the story, actually. So, the full story that we read today, which I actually didn't have because Twitter was going mad. But basically, what they are saying is that Arsenal, like we were saying earlier, Arsenal may look at selling somebody in January. And another one of the names being mentioned is Ben White, which, you know, these stories are crazy, aren't they? Because Ben White, a year or so ago, main right back, playing every week, loving life, England squad. Now they're saying Ben White could be sold if the right offer comes in. You know, I think what we have to understand, a lot of these guys are on big wages as well. Ben White's on 150 grand a week. Um, you know, and we can't carry such big earners. You got to remember right now, Ben White's on 150, right? Ben White is struggling with injury, by the way. You know, he's had an operation on his knee that apparently was delayed, played through it. You don't know the damage that had on him. And now he's suffering with other injuries as well. I mean, it's difficult because he's brilliant cover, but he'll probably be sitting there going, I'm too good to be cover. You know, Ben White would start at other clubs in the Premier League. I mean, I'm thinking what sort of level he could go to. I'm thinking about teams around the Prem. Where do you think Ben White would go? I'm thinking, could he go Villa? But then Matty Cash is decent for them. To be honest, he bombs up and down that right hand side. Chelsea, no. Villa. Where could he go, really? Would he go back to Brighton? They can't afford the wages. Everton would take him. Maybe Newcastle, but they got Livramento. I'd say he's better than Ben White. I don't know where he'd go, to be honest. I think he'd have to go to a mid-table team. But it's whether they could pay his wages. Maybe an Everton. I would say they got Seamus Coleman. Man said Love Island. Man said Love Island. He might have to go abroad. I don't know, you know. Maybe back to Brighton. Yeah, Fulham, maybe. They love all of our players. But yeah, it hasn't gone well for him, you know. And I'll be honest, with Timber in there, you ain't getting back in the team, bro. I'll be real. He's nowhere near the England squad. Tuchel came in, he's like, yeah, I'm open to playing for England now. But it's too late, mate. You ain't getting near that England squad. So Ben White, apparently, we paid 50 M's for him. How much would you want for him? 35, 40 million I'd be trying to get, but could you get that for him? Big C, video idea, Arteta signing tier list. Oh, yeah, that would be, I thought you were saying terrorist then. Yeah, tier list. That would be good. That would be good. I'll have a think about that, especially this week. Quite quiet still. Vegas Gunner, Arteta the Butcher, you're getting surgery when you play for Arsenal. Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. 11 players, I think we said yesterday, have had major injuries. Dre, late to the stream. Big up C and the community. Bless. Big up to Dre. Ben White of Barcelona? No, I doubt that very much, mate. Send him to Jamaica. He'd love it. The suntan he'd get over there, mate. He'd love that. Malaga. Yeah, go to Marbella FC. You know what I mean? Marbella FC people. But yeah, it's interesting. Lots going off, but I think there'll be movement in January, but it might be movement out of the door rather than players coming in. So we'll see what happens. You'll see what happens. People, big up to everyone locked in. I really appreciate your support as always. I'll be live on AFTV at 7 with Cecil. So if you're about, tune in for that. If not, I'll be back tomorrow. I may even do the Jamaica stream, you know. I'll let you know with that. I need to see what channel it's on if I've got it. I should have it, but yeah, if not, I'll be back tomorrow 1:30. But yeah, big up to everyone locked in. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you all soon.